As humans, being honest with ourselves about our own flaws is incredibly difficult. Commonly, it's far easier to identify other people's flawed thinking than our own. Nevertheless, to be a successful investor requires you to commit to a sufficient degree of self-awareness. This is because your success as an investor will, to a large extent, be determined by the patterns of thinking that you engage in. Cognitive biases represent ways of perceiving the world that may not reflect reality. As an investor, it is important for you to be aware of how they can function to distort reality. Moreover, recognizing their existence can enable you to become wiser, allowing you to learn more about how you think and why you think in particular ways. There are numerous cognitive biases that affect investors. However, in this video, we'll be exploring action bias. Before we begin, let me remind you that you can check out my other cognitive biases videos by clicking on the link in the description to this video. Okay, now on to action bias. Hopefully you've recognized the importance of ignoring stock market forecasts. Despite this, though, you still feel, well, that you should do something. It's natural to think this way. It's part of your internal monologue. Let's now take a moment to reflect on how we handle the problems that can sometimes occur in our everyday lives. If we feel unwell, most of us will choose to take medication, and if the pain persists, we'll visit a medical professional. Similarly, if our car begins to make a strange noise, it's likely you'll consult a mechanic. We know that action needs to be taken. Contrary to this, though, within the field of investing, a sloth investor recognizes that inactivity outperforms activity. Sloth investors are programmed to do nothing. Quite simply, as sentient human beings, we are programmed to act, whether this is our own actions or employing others to act on our behalf. What makes the field of investing so unique is that, unlike so many other aspects of our life, very often the best course of action is to do nothing. A key feature of a sloth investor is that he or she adopts a do-nothing approach to investing. It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? Think again about the humble sloth. Sloths are relatively inactive creatures. Likewise, a sloth investor is inherently motionless most of the time. I'll leave the final words of this video to Warren Buffett, arguably the world's most famous investor. In his forward year 2016 Berkshire Hathaway annual report, Buffett espouses the merits of doing nothing when he states, "For investors as a whole, returns decrease as motion increases.